I was going to laugh.
Every time.
Right. Okay. It's the Thejamie and Stevenshow.
Are you sure?
Start movies, music, and magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this week's film.
Who are you? Which one are you?
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Stephen.
And you're Stephen. Yes.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thanks.
Good. Nice to meet you.
Yes. My voice is a bit off, but it's because I had a hen party yesterday. So.
And I'm drinking tea. So if you hear it clanking.
So this week's film is The Rescuers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Released in 1977.
Yeah.
It's an hour and 17 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So in between the hour and a quarter mark and the hour 20 mark.
Do you know what? I'll just pause you there. So the film released on the 17th, ends in 7, June 1977 at 77 minutes.
Oh! I wonder if that was done deliberate.
Probably not.
No. It's obviously a coincidence. So, IMDb synopsis. 2 mice of the Rescue Aid Society search for a little girl kidnapped by unscrupulous treasure hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's spot on, to be honest.
What's yours?
Mine's not that great.
Oh.
An old slapper decides it's better to potentially drown a child rather than buy in a third but smaller alligator. I mean...
she's a evil woman.
She is an evil woman.
Yeah.
She is. You wait till we get on her.
I know. Well, how did she do in the villain polls?
Oh, not very well. I think she either went out first round, I think.
Yeah,
first round.
Prince John. And yet, she's one of my favourites.
She's awful. When you get onto her and what she does to that kid, honestly, awful, absolutely awful.
Right, so it's it cost $7.5 million.
Is that another 7?
Yes. But it grossed $170 million, approximately.
So this is the best since the Jungle Book, which was a decade earlier, and Disney wouldn't reach these heights again until Oliver and Company.
I think it's Little Mermaid.
Well, Oliver and Company did roughly the same.
Okay.
And then Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Directors. So we've got John Lounsbury, Wolfgang Reitherman, and Art Stevens. And I also made a note that for the first time I noticed that executive producer is Ron Miller.
Yes, Disney's
son-in-law. Diane Miller's husband, or Diane Disney's husband. She's Diane Miller now, or was. Right, cast. So Bernard is voiced by Bob Newhart. Now, people will know Bob. He's old, like my mum knows him, obviously, from the 60s and 70s. Like he was,
but even
TV
without knowing that,
but for our generation and younger, he's featured in The Big Bang. What's the scientist? The
Sheldon.
Sheldon, and he watched his TV show. What was the? Because he plays
that
scientist, but he's not really a scientist. But Sheldon thinks he is.
Yes.
Because he's in a few episodes, isn't he?
Yeah, he comes back as a dead Jedi.
Yes.
I mean, that's where I know him from. The Big Bang Theory. Obviously, he's in another thing, which I'm sure you'll mention.
He is in Legally Blonde.
Oh no, I don't know him from that.
Yes, he plays.
I've only seen that once.
The doorman.
Oh no, I've only ever seen that once.
Yeah.
So, did you not have him from anything else?
No, I just wrote those two. Why? What have you got him from?
Papa Elf in Elf.
Oh yes, of course.
Like.
Yeah, I know. I always forget that
That's where I know him from.
Yeah.
Anyway. I seem to think, and correct me if I'm wrong, he doesn't do the narration for How I Met Your Mother, does he?
No.
No, is that someone else I've confused him? Okay.
Yeah. Bianca.
Yes, Miss Bianca.
Miss Bianca is voiced by Eva Gabor, who was Duchess.
Yeah. In the Aristocats.
In the Aristocats, yes. Did you have any facts?
Not about where else she's been in, but in her personal life, she owned a fashion business. She wasn't just an actress, she owned a fashion business. And although she didn't have any children, she was married 5 times.
Wow.
So she had opportunity.
Oh my God. God, but Elizabeth Taylor was married 8 times, so I think it was common in
her sister
in Hollywood.
Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, she was married. I think she had a different one every year, to be honest with you. Oh, it's all gone quiet. We're still here.
I was going to start the fact that I remembered that I had, and then my mind went blank. So Bianca represents Hungary.
Yeah.
And Eva Gabor was born in Budapest, Hungary. Yes.
Look at that.
I know.
So what did we have before? In Robin Hood, it was history.
Yeah.
We're going for geography.
Yes, it will be all about geography. Right. The villain. Madam Madusa. Now, I personally didn't know
I didn't either.
as an actress.
No.
However, I was amazed to read that Meryl Streep looks up and admires Geraldine Page.
I mean, that's just...
So that just shows you the type of actress she was. For Meryl Streep to admire her and want to, get into acting and be just, wow.
Well, yeah, that's sheer...
And it's Meryl Streep!
Yeah, I was going to say, Meryl Streep likes you, let alone admires you.
But the other Disney film that she was in was Mrs. Duke in The Happiest Millionaire.
Yeah, that was my fact.
Yes.
Reading my thing.
Milt Kahl, who designed her, was quoted to say that she nailed every line in one take.
So, I have a little fact about Milt Kahl and Madusa. I've got to find it on one of my many pages. I mean, it's one of those where I had to include it because it's funny.
Yeah.
Madame Madusa was the last work by Milt Kahl, and he was keen, because he knew it was his last, he wanted to make it his best. He based the character on his second wife.
Okay.
They divorced in 1978, but he is quoted as not really liking her at this point. Do you know who she was?
No.
Her name is Phyllis Bounds Ditage. She was Lillian Disney's niece.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I just found that hilarious.
Oh God, that is funny.
Madame Madusa also has an NRA badge in her pawn shop.
An NRA?
National Rifle Association.
Well, yeah. Yeah, she can't shoot.
Yeah. We're not here to talk about politics, but still.
Okay. Mr. Snoops is played by Joe Flynn.
Oh, this is a sad story.
Oh, okay.
Which I can't find. Did you have any other facts before I bring the mood down? Yeah,
okay, so I have a fact about who Mr. Snoops was based on.
Yes.
Right? Let me just find it, because it's really good. It's the Disney historian.
Yes, I didn't get his name, but
I've written his name down.
Because it's something Charles, isn't it? Or Charles something.
Where is it?
Audio silence.
I know, sorry. But it's really, because I definitely wrote it down.
The Jamie and Stevens show is brought to you by no one in particular.
Here we go, I found it. Right.
Back to our show.
John Culhane.
Okay, nothing to do with Charles.
Yeah, John Culhane. And do you know what? I do know him because he's featured in like loads of the behind the scenes documentaries. Yeah, and you'll notice, I think he wears like Disney ties often, and he has glasses, and and the goatee. Yeah.
In fact, I think he's in we mentioned last week about the little extra thing on Christopher Robin.
Yes.
I think he's in that.
Yeah. He made regular visits to the studio and was nicknamed Mr. Snoops because he was always snooping around.
Fair enough.
And they would often get him to do things and like do sketches and
that to me just sounds like a life.
I know, I'd love his job.
Yeah.
You've got the
Joe
sad
Flynn
story.
had also appeared in Son of Flubber and The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes and The Love Bug. Shortly after recording the lines in 1974, so 3 years before this, Joe Flynn was found by his family in his swimming pool. He had had a heart attack and drowned.
Oh my God!
And this was literally shortly after recording the lines. So the lines and all the recording happened in 1974, so within the first, I don't know what month it was, but it can only be a maximum 7 months later.
Oh God, that's awful.
They wanted to keep him in. They'd recorded the part. It's respectful.
Luckily, obviously didn't need to redo anything.
No, and to be honest, I didn't know he had passed away because I could have swore blind that he had voiced other characters from my childhood, like in Animaniacs and that kind of thing. I could have
obviously not.
But no, he didn't. But yeah, Disney. He had other credits to his name within Disney, so. Yeah,
that is sad. Okay, so Orville.
Mm-hmm.
The seagull?
Albatross,
yeah.
Albatross.
Yeah, a seagull.
He's an albatross.
Yeah, okay. Is voiced by Jim Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any?
I did, yeah.
Is this another sad story?
No, it's not even sad story. It's just I feel like I'm bringing the
mood down.
It's a bit morbid, to be honest with you. So he was going to return for Rescuers Down Under.
Okay.
So Orville was going to return, but literally just before in 1988, when they were sending out contracts, he died. And he's buried, or his plot is next to Sharon Tate. Which, does that name ring a bell? I've
heard.
She was the victim of the Manson family murders.
Oh.
So, yeah, he's next to her. But he was up for returning. There was no... It was, I think, a heart attack. I think anyone who's died in this actually died from a heart attack. But yes.
Because
it's his brother...
Yeah, and he was played by John Candy.
Yes.
But obviously we'll get to that.
We will get to that. That's a sad story as well.
Oh, don't. Because anyway. Right. The chairman of the Rescue Aid Society, I wrote him down. Because it's that Bernard Fox that you mentioned. You know who's in Titanic?
Yes. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, he plays him.
So then the youngest of our cast, which is Penny, was played by Michelle Stacy. I'd probably say that she didn't have a huge career before or after, but she also appeared in the Leslie Nielsen film Airplane, 1980.
Oh, okay.
Little girl in there. And she was in The Incredible Hulk in 1979.
Oh, what, the series?
Yeah, just a one-off character.
Right,
so.
okay.
So yeah.
Oh, so that is the cast.
That is our cast.
Songs. Now, it's not a film that people tend to think of as in like a soundtrack, but there are 4 songs.
Do you know what I will say? Tomorrow is Another Day. One of my favourite Disney songs.
Oh, Someone's Waiting for You makes me cry. Yeah, really. Like, I do like the music in this.
Yeah, I do. I kind of like because I'm like a 60s, 70s kind of thing, and there's like just a very 70s feel to this soundtrack. So those songs are just...
It's her voice.
Yeah. The whole thing's just... Yeah.
It's very... could almost be like, Sarah McLachlan, like sang Jessie. The Jessie song.
Yeah.
It's very soft.
Yeah.
But has a melancholy tone. Yeah.
It's on my Disney playlist, and even when I'm in like a really jolly mood and this one comes on randomly on shuffle, it's like staying on.
Tomorrow's Another Day.
Yeah. It's like, this is staying on.
Yeah.
So
the songs are The Journey, which is the start with the bottle, The Rescue Aid Society, Tomorrow is Another Day, and Someone's Waiting for You. So they're sung by Shelby Flint, co-written by Carol Connors and Ayn Roberts.
Yeah,
it's
I just got
Ayn.
Yeah,
her name. Fun fact.
I got one too.
Okay, I wonder if it's the same.
It could be.
Carpenters.
No.
Oh. Right. So the Carpenters were asked to do the music, and they tried.
The Carpenters.
Yeah, they tried desperately to fit the schedules, and they just couldn't get it to work. And apparently, Karen was devastated because she's a massive Disney fan.
Yeah. Well.
And that's when Carol Connors,
I think anyone would
and
be
Roberts were brought in. I looked them up, and Carol Connors, she's done loads.
She did Rocky.
Yeah.
She did a song for Rocky. So my fun fact.
Okay.
Carol Connors testified at the O.J. Simpson trial.
What?
Because she had seen O.J. at a charity event the night before the murders.
Oh my god!
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No.
No.
How weird is that? Because he's just died. Like when sorry for those listening, when we recorded this, it was only last week that he passed.
Yeah. You talk about the songs, although if you discount the Rescue Aid Society, which is more of a ditty kind of thing, it's the first film since Bambi where the songs are sung over the action rather than by the characters or by a character.
Yeah, the Rescue Aid Society, it's just kind of like an anthem. It's like
little ditty.
A school, like singing a school thing,
Well, it's actually made on a toy piano.
Oh, okay.
Like, they used unusual instruments that a mouse or those kind of play.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's a little toy piano, it's probably like a xylophone thing.
Yeah. That's fab. Right. Let's get into the facts.
Yeah.
Okay, so
well, I've got more about a song actually.
Okay.
I just read on the thing. So, Someone's Waiting for You was nominated for an Academy Award for the Best Original Song. This is the only time that Carol Connors and Ayn Robbins wrote for Disney Animation. The lyrics by Sammy Fain. She had previously worked on Alice in Wonderland, and the poem Faith is a Bluebird in the flashback with Rufus and Penny. The bluebird is from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a few
I thought I
links.
recognised it, but I didn't think it was Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. So there's a few links to Alice in Wonderland in this, but not that many, so don't worry.
So the film's popularity almost led to a spin-off TV series in 1989, when the animation department greenlit The Rescuers Down Under, but the spin-off was reworked into Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Yeah.
I think as well it also had something to do with the fact that Ava Gabor passed, and they did swear that because...
Well, she died in... Was it 95?
Oh!
So she
Oh,
died
maybe it was a third film then.
Yeah, there was going to be a third film.
But it's because she died that
Yeah.
they refused.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, hey, we love Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, so...
I watched that film the other day.
Oh, we like it.
You know, because we were talking about it a few podcasts ago for you guys.
Yeah.
But for us, it was like... And yeah, I sat and watched it.
Yeah, we like it.
Oh.
Boys, Finlay will put it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
a good
the
one.
Aristocats, because we wanted it
Yes.
remade in that
We
style.
said if they
Yeah.
did a live action, it should be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas this can't be remade.
No.
Don't touch this, Disney.
No, do not touch Rescuers.
Bob Iger, I haven't seen you in Sainsbury's for a while, so I guess you've done a big So I guess you've done quite a big shop. And I know you've seen my message on WhatsApp because of the little ticks. But yeah, don't bother with this one. It's fine the way it is.
Yeah, one of Miss Bianca's traits, as portrayed in the original novel, was her trust and affection for felines.
The cats.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I did make a note saying how ironic that it's a cat that helps them. You know, with them being mice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know who that cat was modelled after? Rufus.
No.
Ollie Johnson.
Oh, yeah. It does look like him.
No, it was. It was. You're being sarcastic, are you?
No.
Oh, well, okay.
No, I'm being serious.
Yeah, no, it's Ollie Johnson.
Because I've just watched their... I mean, it's old, but it's on Disney Plus. Their documentary.
Waking Sleeping Beauty.
No. It's called Frank and
Oh,
Ollie.
yes.
And it's them in their homes.
Yeah.
And you meet their wives. And, yeah. It does.
Yeah.
With the little moustache and the little round glasses. Oh, fab. Speaking of Rufus, so the scene where Penny carries Rufus to dinner and the way that she holds him, that was all animated by Ollie Johnson. Yeah, he explained he did this in order to show the tender affection between Penny and Rufus.
That whole scene, that whole flashback, is actually the reason why I want to adopt.
Oh,
that whole thing. So this film's always going to be special to me. But that bit where they didn't want me. They wanted.
It's awful. They wanted the red-headed girl
because she's prettier than me.
It's. Do you know what it is? It's the way that she says it. I mean, considering this little girl didn't really go on to do any more film, that performance, you know,
it's
and
an
the tear
film.
Oh.
So when I rewatched this, I didn't watch that scene.
Oh, did you have to fast forward it?
I didn't fast forward. I was just not watching it.
You had to walk around out the room.
No, just.
Oh, you went on your phone.
Yeah, because I know that just gets me.
It is, yeah. It's awful. It really used to upset me as a kid. Yeah. The thought of a child not having a mum or dad.
Oh, I mean, Mufasa's dead. No one cares.
What?
But the redhead girl was watching me. It's like, hang on, no, I'll adopt you.
Yeah, that's what I was. I wrote that down as well. I'd adopt Penny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Rescue Aid Society, they honour Euripides Mouse.
Okay. Oh.
Who removed a tiny needle from a ferocious lion's paw, is a clear reference to the classic Aesop fable, The Mouse and the Lion.
And you know what? I've got a fact just to boost that for you. You know the story of the mouse and the lion?
No.
Where he removes the paw and things? Well, it's to everyone else.
Okay.
Walt never made that. He never made that Aesop fable. He made so much of the other ones, and of like.
So that was the one fable he hadn't done. As a short, you mean?
one of the ones in
right,
done,
okay.
but it's weird that it's referenced, and because it is quite famous, even though you've never heard of it.
No, I've never heard of it.
It's just surprising that it's never ever been done.
The film proved that Walt Disney Productions' animation department would survive following the death of Walt. It was the company's first major success since Jungle Book. And get this, I told my father-in-law this fact last night, and he was shocked.
Shooketh
Shooketh
to the chorus.
Because we happened to be watching Star Wars.
Yes.
So it managed to outgrow Star Wars A New Hope in several European countries, including France and West Germany, as it was known back in the day.
Do you know what? You're stealing all.
But yeah, I don't know why. See, when I was starting to write down my notes, and the first thing I always write when I'm making my notes is the title and the year that it was released, and why it's never ever registered that they were both released the same year. It's weird.
I mean, I'd argue to say that The Rescuers is better.
No. We're not going to get into that argument, Stephen. But if people want to leave a comment on Threads, we'll put that poll on.
Yeah.
That will be our featured poll. I am going to make a note of that.
Yes, make a note.
Poll on Threads. So when this is released, cast your vote. The Rescuers or Star Wars A New Hope. That will be very interesting.
The Rescuers.
It broke a record for the largest box office gains in an opening weekend. A record that wouldn't be broken until another Mouse Tale.
Oh, I thought it was The Lion King.
No.
Basil.
No. An American Tale.
Oh, okay.
And that film,
awkward,
yes, was by Don Bluth, who at this time is currently an animator at Disney. He will leave the company in a couple of years and go on to do his own films. An American Tale was released in 1986, and that beat The Rescuers record. So
he left the company in 1979.
Yeah.
2 years after this film was made. I have a fact about him. So basically, he worked with Michael Jackson to produce, I mean, this obviously didn't happen, didn't follow through kind of thing, to produce a CGI film based on the Beatles songs. When they were planning this, it was going to be the first computer-generated feature-length film 8 years before Toy Story.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And because Michael Jackson owned the Beatles catalogue.
Yeah. Which is why
because that's why him and Paul McCartney fell out.
Yeah.
Because he was a bit sneaky and bought them behind because they were friends and did a few songs together. And yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So because he created Captain EO.
Yeah.
For Disney, the Disney parks.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that was at any point during the time that he tried to do something with Don Bluth.
I can't remember when Captain EO happened.
I'm sure that was 80s.
Yeah, I mean 8 years before Toy Story would be 87.
Yeah.
So
unless he'd done the Captain EO.
Might have done because
and then wanted to keep doing.
Was that not for Epcot?
Yeah. Oh, it was a 3D thing. It was taken over by Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Where Your Film Magic is in Disneyland Paris, it was in there.
Oh, okay.
Because I had the chance to go and see it. Yes. Oh, this is a terrible story. But I had to get dragged off of Star Tours because I screamed so much. And my grandma was affronted. Like, she was so embarrassed. I'd kicked up such a fuss. because at the time I didn't like loud noise.
No.
And I didn't like the unknown.
Wasn't this like 5 years ago?
But you know, I was 6.
Definitely not
they
5 years ago.
Obviously, now it would be classed as like a sensory thing, you know.
Yeah,
But back then, I was bad.
Yeah, you were naughty.
I was naughty. I was misbehaving. I'm being silly. And there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a ride or it's just a show. And because I was so... I'd exhausted myself from crying and being upset over that ride that I refused to go in to watch Captain EO.
Yeah, I'd love to have seen it.
Yeah.
I would love to have
And then it was like, because that was 92 and I think it was the year later or 2 years later, because they didn't have it long. And then it was replaced by Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And then that was then replaced with Magic. So, yeah.
I mean, they'd never bring back anything to do with Michael Jackson at a Disney park.
Not now.
I think that's
gone.
That's gone.
I think you can see clips on YouTube.
Yeah, you can, and that's why I want to see it. I think it's a shame. It's one of those historical things that I think would be good to see, but you kind of, as long as you're aware of the context.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be aware of accusations, but you do have to be aware of context.
Yeah, if you can take away behind the scenes, personal, what he was as a person in real life.
I mean the context of the technology.
Yes, it was like... well, I have more to do with Don Bluth. Okay, so... Don Bluth noted that some of the characters did not have the whites of their eyes.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I noticed that.
Yeah, right. So he picked this up. So when they were going through rushes,
so
he picked this up and he went to the person in charge.
Redman, Art Stevens. Oh, probably not Art Stevens.
Well, the directors were John Lounsbury, Wolfgang Reitherman and Art Stevens. But the producer was Ron Miller, or executive producer.
Yeah.
But who he went to, I don't know. It didn't say.
I don't think it would be Art Stevens, just because when we get onto the Fox and the Hound, there's discussion there, and
Right. So when he questioned it, he was told that it was too expensive.
Reitherman.
Bluth and a fellow animator. Gary Goldman.
Oh.
Yeah. Got their own equipment to test this out.
Yeah.
And discovered that it wasn't expensive. So they reported back saying, this isn't expensive. We can easily do the whites. And they were told to follow orders and do as they were told. And Bluth referred to this as the straw that broke the camel's back, which, oh my god, pardon me, sorry.
Sorry?
Which is because I've had some Diet Coke.
People listening to this in their headphones.
Had a Diet Coke, sorry listeners.
That's what it is. We have just, to let you know, we have just had a Chinese. And we literally shoveled that food in. Because we wanted to talk about the rescuers. And,
So, referred to this as the straw that broke the camel's back, which would eventually lead to Bluth and Goldman leaving Disney. So, so I mentioned Goldman in last week's podcast, Winnie the Pooh, because I'd said how I'd noticed in the credits, they're both their names. And, you'll see both their names in this as well. Last film Mick Cal animated. He animated almost all of Madam Madusa by himself, since none of his assistants could match the quality of his work.
No, I mean, he was this was going to be the best, this was going to be his legacy. Obviously the people of Threads thought differently.
No!
But then that's their issue.
Penny freezes whenever she gazes into Medusa's eyes.
Yes.
Yeah. And obviously it's to do with the Greek myth.
Yeah.
And those who gaze into Medusa's eyes turn to stone. According to their publisher, the Rescuers helped put all 9 of British author Marjorie Sharp's novels on the bestsellers list.
Well, the first Rescuers book came out in 1959, and
that long ago.
And Walt.
Well, is it Miss Bianca the first book?
Oh yeah.
Miss Bianca's first, then the Rescuers, and then.
But yeah, it first came out in 1959, and some references that I found said that Walt acquired the rights in the 1950s. So if that's true, it must be within months. Personally, I don't think that was the case.
Must have been the 60s.
Must have been the 60s. But even then...
But I wonder if... Now, hear me out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that was released in 1959.
Yeah.
The first book.
Yeah.
Okay. She's British. In 1961, he got the rights to Mary Poppins and Winnie the Pooh. They're both British.
Yeah. So yeah.
So I wonder if it was all done at the same time. All British.
Because
he did visit London.
We know he had a good relationship with Dodie Smith, 101 Dalmatians.
Yes. Another British. I mean, that came out that year, but because they never met, did they?
No.
They just corresponded through letters.
Yeah.
Amazing. But yeah. So I wonder if he just sort of.
I mean, the film itself, Walt was working on The Rescuers.
Yes, I did read that
he was like, it's too political.
Oh, okay.
We can't do this. We don't do... And
yeah, which is...
they do family wholesome entertainment.
Yeah.
And we don't make shock.
No.
We also do not push the boundaries unless it's of our technological abilities.
Yeah.
And he was just like, they're just... Because that first book, I can't remember what the plot line is, but obviously you've got the rescue.
It's to do with a prison.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
There's somebody in a jail or something. And
I know the original version of The Rescuers, the film, was meant to be a polar bear who was captured and made to perform tricks.
Yeah.
I mean, that was rejected because no one thought that they could animate the Antarctic.
Oh, right.
They didn't think they could do a whole film justice. Yeah. Because obviously we'd only seen cartoon versions.
Yeah, because the Rescue Aid Society is called something slightly different.
The Prisoners Aid Society.
Yeah.
I have a few differences between the film and the book, actually. But...
Okay, go.
Oh, okay. Well, Miss Bianca was a main character within the book, but Bernard wasn't. He was just a side character.
Oh, okay.
He does feature in The Rescuers more.
Uh-huh.
But he is just a side character. We've mentioned about the Rescue Aid Society thing. In the film, it's Mr. Chairman. In the book, it's Madam Chairwoman.
Oh!
Mm-hmm. In the film, there is a romantic tension kind of thing between Bianca and Bernard. Bernard,
yeah.
However, in the book, Bianca's quoted to say there never could be a romantic element.
Okay.
Originally, they were going to be married in the film, but they thought it was better that they were two single mice to add a bit of an element. But I do think the married mice thing would be a bit fun. I think that would have added a different element, but I don't think Disney could have done that justice.
No, I think it's nice the way it is.
Yeah.
I know that they do the whole engagement thing in the second one, but
that's part of it. That's the progression.
I guess it's a bit like Bert in Mary Poppins. You know, Travers saying, under no circumstances are they to be romantically involved. And obviously her thing was, no, they're not. But clearly she was writing these books. I mean, Miss Bianca, a female lead. She's a female author. The chairman, Madam Chairwoman. So that's obviously why, no, there might be hints or a bit of flirtation, but no, my stories are not a romance.
In the film, Nero and Brutus are alligators, but in the book they are dogs. And I didn't write the name down, but they both begin with T.
Yeah, I've got it. It's where is it? Tyrant and Torment. and they're in the Miss Bianca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penny was originally called Patience.
Oh.
Or is based on the character called Patience.
Okay.
Basically. Mr. Snoops is based on a character called Mandrake.
Right.
And Orville is an albatross in the film, but in the book it's a pigeon.
Oh. I know, how on earth would mice be able to sit on the back of a pigeon?
Oh, well, I think it's because I think the first one more set in the UK.
Oh, of course,
We don't really have albatross in the UK.
We have seagulls.
Seagulls and albatross are not the same thing.
Well, they look very similar.
Yeah, but then I've got a black cat and there's panther, and they're not the same thing. The reason why he's an albatross is because, and I believe it was Ollie Johnson,
Okay.
had watched the True Life Adventure about albatross and their poor landings and thought that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
So incorporated it.
He was good at those comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
really good.
got them. Yeah, there's a few bits that would have been different that they altered in the kind of production and things. So one of them Evinrude was only meant to be a way of getting the mice a jet ski.
Right.
What the thing is with this film is when it was obviously being done would be the early 70s rather than the late 70s when it came out. So a lot of thoughts behind it would be James Bond.
Yeah.
Because you've got James Bond. There was things in the UK which which travelled across and whatnot. There was The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Saint.
The Saint. There's the Protector's probably a bit later, but there was a lot of Spy.
Yes. Yeah.
And they were being spoofed quite a lot as well, and obviously when this came into play, so having basically a jet ski was the most important thing. But they liked the little guy and extended his role.
Yeah.
But it was never meant to be anything more than just a jet ski motor. The band of Swampies were meant to be the home guard, so Dad's army basically.
Right.
And they were going to perform marches.
Okay.
And you'll never guess who one of the characters, a bullfrog, was going to be voiced by. No.
I don't know. I've got a fact about someone that was going to get given a role. I wonder if it's that person. I don't know.
Blurt it out.
Phil Harris.
Phil Harris.
Yeah, I got that down that he was nearly given a role.
Yeah, and it's because they just changed that element that that character wasn't in it.
Yeah. And speaking of, I've got one about Louis Prima to do with this film.
Okay.
Yeah. So Louis Prima was set to play the deleted character Louis the Bear. In an earlier script, he had recorded 4 songs.
Oh wow.
And much of his character's dialogue for the film, but he underwent brain surgery in 1975 and never regained consciousness. This material, as well as the character he was to provide voice for, was discarded from the film. Ian Robbins and Carol Connors would then write a new version of his proposed Rescue Aid Society anthem.
And that's the polar bear.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Louis the Bear's the polar bear, and that would make sense. He's asked to perform. So
I know. So we nearly got the Jungle Book cast back.
We did almost get the Jungle Book cast back. What we did get was the Jungle Book trees.
Oh yeah, in the swamp.
So in the swamp, all of the trees in the foreground, not the background.
Right.
But the ones in the foreground are all reused from the Jungle Book.
Shocker.
Yeah.
In the novel, the Rescue Aid Society was known as, the Mouse Prisoners Aid Society, and their purpose was not initially to rescue those in danger, but to accompany and amuse prisoners during their long hours in solitude inside cells. Very grim. Because when I was looking up the facts, I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm I'm going to see if I can get these books. And then when I read, it's about, accompanying an amusing prisoner, I was like, then again, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see the boys being really interested in that. Right, I'm going to leave one fact to when we talk about thoughts, because it links with one of the issues I have with this film. The film was won a special citation award from the National Board of Review in the United States for restoring and upgrading the art of animation.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things where so although the spy concept, that rescue concept, was a bit dated, the Xerox process, the photocopying and the things, that was refined, so it didn't look as scratchy, the animation, but also they did it so they could colour in the lines. So I don't know if you notice when they're in the cave at the end, but Penny doesn't have black lines around her. She has like a darker, is it dark blue?
Yeah.
And then the same for Miss Bianca. She has different coloured lines as well.
Which I think they go on to do now. Like you won't see black lines around the characters anymore. There'll be a lighter version of the colour that it's next to. So if it's an arm, it'll be a lighter colour to the skin colour, and that's the line colour. Yeah, I only know that because I've drawn. Yeah, and like tried to do it on my. For me, sometimes a black line, look, when you're doing a still drawing, it just neats it.
Yeah.
But when you look at animation cells, you can see that there is no black line drawings anymore.
No such colour as black.
And even like if it's like black hair, or they'll use, like you say, a blue line,
like a dark,
or a grey line, or
Oh, look at that.
I know.
The other thing that they did as well was the beginning, the opening credits.
Yes.
So prior to this,
right?
Calm down. It was the background that was stationary, and the credits that, although they didn't move, they were imposed over.
Yes.
But in this, it's the other way around. It's the first time it's been done. So the credits remain still, and the camera scans across the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to come back to the opening credits. Yeah. Anne Robbins, so one of the songwriters, she was an amateur poet who started writing song lyrics in the 1970s, and she used to work as a personal secretary for Eva Gabor. Miss Bianca!
Oh, Miss Bianca!
Yeah! Now, at which point during the film, I don't know when she came in, because like I say, they were trying to get the Carpenters, and compared to when Eva would have recorded her lines, whether they would have crossed paths during the making of this.
Well, Mr. Snoop was recorded 74.
Yeah, so
if
she
you
was
could
only
assume that Eva Gabor also recorded the lines around that time. Yeah,
I mean, unless they may have seen each other again when Eva would have had to have recorded her line for the song Rescue Aid Society, because she sings as she's walking in. But we don't know. It didn't say. Mary Blair's final involvement
go on.
with the Walt Disney animation before her death in 1978. But it didn't say what she'd done, so I'm wondering if she'd done
those opening credits,
or even just the design or look. You know how they just ask people, can you just do some drawings?
Yeah.
And they'll then base the tone of the film on that. I couldn't think of anything that looked like Mary Blair.
Do you know what? You know the Rescue Aid Society? You know, because they've got their different uniforms, and Mary Blair was known to do...
Oh, yeah, because of the Small World
and stuff. And
maybe.
Yeah, because they are contrasting colours. I did confuse myself at the beginning of the film, though, because I thought this was set in America, to be honest with you, the whole thing. So when they started talking French at the airport, and it's obviously set in Paris at the beginning.
No.
But they're French.
No,
the
it's the United Nations building in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I'm not confused.
Because they're not at an airport. They're at the United Nations building.
I thought
and that is near the water. So that's why you can see. It's the Hudson River, I think you can see. Yeah, and that's what the building looks like.
So again, a geography lesson.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it seems as if they're coming. They're at an airport. It's not. It's United Nations building.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah, it's set in America, and
so people of Thread, you were correct.
Yes, and obviously the swamp, I'm assuming is.
It's the bayou.
Yeah.
It's
like Louisiana, Florida, that line there.
I think it's a similar place to The Princess and the Frog. I think when we get to
she's New Orleans.
Well, I think when we get to Princess and the Frog, there was some reference back to the rescuers, but I can't remember how.
Well, when we do Princess and the Frog, we'll probably come across it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the artwork is just... Yeah, I can't imagine what would be Mary Blair, but probably that beginning bit.
Yeah, maybe. Ollie and Frank consider this their best picture without Walt Disney.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. There's not many.
No. And my last thing, so the opening sequence. Mm-hmm. Right, okay. This connects to one of my irks with the film. It doesn't spoil the film for me, but it's like But anyway, so the film's opening sequence was made up of paintings by Mel Shaw, combined with elaborate camera movements to captivate the dramatic feel of the journey of the bottle. The song is the perspective of the bottle, and it's often perceived that it's from Penny's perspective, but it's not. It's the bottle. So the song is the bottle, not Penny. And the movements of, although it's just stills, but it's supposed to all represent the harrowing journey of one of many bottles that she obviously throws in the water, making its journey and finally getting to land.
So what irks you?
The fact that it's still.
Oh.
And it's throughout the whole film. So see when Orville flies, nothing moves. It's just him. Oh. So you hear the sounds of the taxis honking.
Yeah.
And the city sounds, but nothing moves. It's only him. And it really bugs me. And because especially when I think as well, because okay, we're going to be near there, but say roughly 10 years time, we're going to get to Oliver and Company, and we're going to be going through the same streets.
Yeah.
And that I love those New York scenes. And
but then could that be because they had a computer to help them? Maybe,
but then they've done this is the first to me where the background doesn't move.
Yeah.
Like they don't even do
flashing lights.
It's flat. And it is literally like a painting, and then they've just animated these characters over the top.
You see, I'd have thought that it would have irked you more that this bottle clearly travels across the ocean.
Well, yeah, it goes from south to north. How? I have no idea. And the fact it manages to stay on that coastline as well, because if she is in Louisiana, it'd have to go all the way down around Florida and back up to get to New York.
But she's been throwing it off the side of the boat.
Yeah.
Mr. Smoot. So, in a swamp.
Yeah. I know.
Anyway.
No, that is, but it's just one of those where, but it's just a film, we don't really But we noticed those details. Right. So that's all my facts.
So I have a fact that will lead us into our releases, home videos. So the film has 250 people worked on the film, including 40 animators. There is a total of 330,000 drawings with 14 sequences and 1,039 scenes. There is 750 background images, still apparently, with 110,000 frames, 2 of which contained a topless woman.
A topless woman?
Topless woman.
Where?
So, in the New York thing that you were concentrating on so much, there was, in the video release, it was found, this is the 1999 video release, that there was a clip of a woman getting out of the shower, but it was a still. And she was topless in one of the windows behind Bernard. Bernard. But on the original film, because it's only 2 frames, and it goes at something like, well,
it's 24 frames per second.
Yeah, so think about 2 frames. They're not next to each other either, so it's not 2 seconds or anything like 2. It's 2 separate frames. And someone caught it on the VHS.
How?
Like,
did they watch it in slow motion?
Do you know what I reckon happened?
Get a life.
Someone needed a wee, pressed pause, and it just so happened.
Do you think? It must be.
That's what I think.
Okay, it had to be.
But it was on the 1999 release.
That's quite late.
Not the 1992 original release.
Somebody's obviously popped that in as a joke. No.
It was in the original film.
But nobody
No one
noticed
it because
I
no
wonder
one
who
would
did
have
it.
frozen. Disney did put out a statement to say that it was in the original film and it was wrong, and that they obviously don't condone and anything like that. But
I wonder who it was. Must have had that. I wonder if it was Don Bluth.
Well,
you buggers!
Well,
I'm going to leave this in there.
I would be interested to know who animated Orville, because it was in his scene in New York.
Yeah, but the backgrounds would have been done by somebody else.
But it was a close-up, and it's an actual live-action shot.
Yeah, but the Orville would have been on a clear, and that would have been laid on the top, and then it would have been...
But someone would have had to have cut that picture out and put it in, then take it away for them to do the next shot, and then put it back in.
Oh yeah, whoever puts the cells together would have seen that. Yeah. I bet you they were giggling.
Oh yeah, I would be.
Yeah.
That
to me is an Easter egg. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, but they removed it.
Ugh.
So the VHS...
Right, Bob Iger.
Yeah, Bob Iger.
Listening.
Of course he's listening.
Yeah, I know, you must have put that...
He was at the Chinese.
He was at the Chinese.
Before we was eating this, he was at the Chinese.
Bring back this still.
Yeah.
You know?
You can see it online.
Oh, can ya? Okay. Is it that bad?
To be honest with you, no, I couldn't see anything.
Okay, we'll post it on Threads.
Fuzzy. I won't be posting on Threads because it looks just like a blur.
Does it?
Yeah.
So what was the fuss?
Do you know what that is? That is someone who is like... Yeah, basically. Like,
I'm going to complain.
Yeah.
A Karen. It was a Karen.
The re-release 1983 to accompany Mickey's Christmas Carol, and in 1989 to remind people what the Rescuers were like because of the sequel the following year. VHS and Laserdisc was 1992, and that 1999 VHS was recorded after 3 days. It was meant to receive a Blu-ray release. A DVD release in 1999, which would have been one of the first.
But obviously, they need to get rid of this topless woman.
But they had to get rid of it because DVD was clearer. And the resulting DVD came out in 2003. Okay. The Blu-ray was 2012, and it was one of the first films on Disney Plus.
Okay.
I have one or two more which I have put all out of order on my thing. So before we get into the Ujima flips, Cruella was meant to have returned.
What?
So basically, the original story in The Rescuers is I think it's a countess, a diamond countess, and they thought it would be great if Cruella stole the child for the diamond. She stole puppies for a coat. The idea went for a while.
Oh my god.
And actually, Madam Madusa is inspiration with her frame and things is Cruella. Looking forward, Penny would become, or should have become, Jenny in Oliver and Company. So much so, and she was, we'll get on more with this on Oliver and Company, but basically the reason why her name's Jenny, the fact she's got red hair and the way she looks and her age is all based on the fact that she was meant to be Penny.
So is she the one that got picked instead of Penny? Is she the girl with the red hair?
No, Jenny was Penny grown up.
No, I'm just saying, could that have been...
Yeah, it could have been, yeah.
Because she says they picked the girl with the red hair.
Yeah.
And Jenny has red hair.
But yeah, that it was just meant to be a grown up version.
Okay.
The film concluded, the last words in the song, Tomorrow is Another Day, is also the last word spoken in Casablanca.
Oh. Okay.
There we go. There's that one. Yeah.
Right, thoughts?
One.
Uh-huh.
Cornflakes Snow.
Right, yes.
I did see it.
During the end.
Do you know
when
what?
They're flying.
I think the last time Cornflake Snow is used is on Brother Bear.
Okay.
I mean, it's used for
until
Computer High there. Yeah. So there's a few things that I really liked about this film. Mm-hmm. The emotion.
Yeah.
It's an emotional film.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's fun and funny. Mm-hmm. The characters, even just the fact that Luke who's drinking.
Yeah.
And he's like,
clearly moonshine.
I was waiting for you to say charge. It's like, yeah. I mean, they give it Irvin route, and he's like,
I know.
Which I always want to shout puppy power at the end of, so I do. Yeah. I rated it 4 out of 5. It's one of my favourite Disney films. I'm not going to hide that. So.
Yeah, very emotional, and it used to really make me sad as a child. I do definitely remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the stills, the background really did annoy me when I was trying to... Pardon me, sorry, it's because I've had Diet Coke again. The background really did annoy me. It's definitely got a 70s feel to it.
Yeah.
I think it's, for that time.
Yeah.
It's
one of the few Disney films to be set in the time it's released.
Yeah.
So I think before this was Dumbo and 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah.
And then this.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
I mean, apart from obviously the Rescue Aid Society, but the two main songs just make me tear up. Like or gives me like a choke.
Tomorrow is Another Day.
Yeah. What else? Sorry, I'm trying to read my writing. We talked about Penny crying at the bed. I mean, awful. Medusa.
Right, bitch.
Yeah, but can I just point out, could her boobs be any lower?
No.
Like, when she's in that, when she says, Madam Madusa's pawn shop boutique, and she's like, sort of half on the chair and half on the desk. Like, really? I mean, they're going to her bum.
Yeah.
But it makes the character...
I wonder if that's what Milk Car's wife...
I know! It's like
because the face, if you Google her, the whole face and the hair, similar.
Oh.
I'm not saying
just
it's
exaggerated.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So whether or not that was a sneaky little, loving you, tits are down to your knees.
Yeah.
It's
like when I was watching it, and I was doing like my facts. I read that one of the most notable scenes in this that is often praised is when she removes her makeup.
Yeah.
Which amazing, like when she pulls those eyelashes off. But at the same time, that scene it's probably her most evil because of what she says to her. She says, "Who would want a little girl like you?"
At the end of the day, we know from the film. This is no conspiracy. Rufus says that this weird couple approached her. Now, did they approach her while she was... Cause she's obviously quite young.
Yeah.
So did they approach her in the orphanage? Or did they approach her because Penny says to him that two people approached her?
Yeah.
So he didn't see it. So
no.
she could have been at school, kindergarten, or...
Yeah.
So, one, she's approaching children.
Yeah.
Two, I mean, she's in a pawn shop, so that's obviously always linked to this kind of down and out kind of thing.
And like cheating.
Yeah.
Because you never get what it's worth.
I mean, that's association kind of thing, but there. So she then kidnaps a child.
Yeah.
She takes the child to be guarded by two alligators.
Yeah.
And a random man.
Yeah.
Then she forces the child to go down a hole. Doesn't care whether she drowns or not. That's just
she just wants this diamond.
We'll get the next kid kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then at no point in that film does she say what she's going to do with Penny, other than, well, you can stay here on the boat.
But I noticed as well, like, she actually attempts to shoot her.
Yeah.
When Penny's in that swamp vehicle, but because she's a crap shooter, considering she's got
an RA,
she misses and gets the windscreen. But she could have killed her.
Yeah.
I was like, this woman is evil.
Yeah. No, on the whole thing about it.
As a villain.
Yeah.
And like an evil person, anyone who's willing to kill a child and harm a child and do that, it is pure evil.
She should be up there.
Yeah.
She really, I mean, even Maleficent, the winner of our
Threads poll.
Villains poll. Even she waited until the child was 16.
Yeah, she waited until,
she's like, whoa,
I'm not going to kill a baby.
Not a baby.
But then again, Cruella, she wanted to kill puppies.
She would have had them puppets straight away as well.
I know. Although, and she didn't care how it was done.
No.
Shoot them, drown them, bang them on the head.
But so this to me is one of the worst or the most evil Disney villains.
Yeah.
But why on earth she's not remembered as others, I don't know.
I don't know. It's just like the opposite of Madam Mim. And people often reference the two because Mick Call obviously did Madam Mim as well. And that scene where she turns pretty, they say, is very kind of similar, the pointy nose and whatnot. But at least Madam Mim, like she's not evil. It's all about the game.
She's a bit of a knob.
She says, well, I'm going to kill you now. She actually she gives you a warning.
Yeah.
And she's going to count to 10.
Yeah.
Whereas Madusa,
bang.
Yeah. You don't even see that gun. But she just happens to miss her.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
No, I must admit, what sells this film to me, and I gave it a 3.5, is the characters.
Yeah, all of them.
Every single one. Even the little swamp gang.
Alligators.
Yeah.
They've just got...
And I love the scene with the organ. Now, apparently they were going to take that out. But that scene used to crack me up as a kid. where they keep coming out and then they're trying to catch them. I mean, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it kind of lightens the mood a bit because it's really dark.
Yeah, it's a kidnapped child.
Yeah.
Who is being forced to get this thing. I really liked, and that's one of them as well, is the small details.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's a calendar at the end that says it all happens on Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah.
But the day before, in the pawn shop, the calendar says Thursday the 12th.
The 12th, yeah.
And there's other bits that just... I really like... Just the little bits that kind of just were thought about.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that there was those extra little bits. The only thing that I thought was a bit like, I wonder if this has been thought about. So the Devil's Eye diamond is inside a skull.
Yeah.
How did it get there? Because the skull's buried.
I know.
So did the water kind of take the skull and put that over the diamond? Or did the pirates... Because it said that the pirates hid it over there. But then there's a sword, there's...
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is that the diamond was there and then somebody died, and over time the skull kind of just got washed over and it just so happened to sit on the diamond. But I thought that. I was like, because they can't get it through the eye. No. They have to open the jaw to get it out. You wouldn't have fit.
Wouldn't have gone in the mouth?
No.
When he died, and that's where he kept...
No. Because where's the rest of his body? Wouldn't have stayed in your head.
I suppose,
I think the skull just happened to fall on top of it with water. Yeah.
That was the only thing that I was a bit like, I don't know if that's been thought. But everything else, just the sun, the fact that the water goes up because it's...
the tide.
The tide, and everything just felt right. I even liked the bit where, right at the beginning with Bernard in the bottom.
Yes.
Because he's a different colour and a little bit like blurry because of how you look through a glass bottle.
And I like
they
how...
didn't need to do that.
No, they didn't. I like how he's a bit of a worrier, a skeptic, like he's... And that he's superstitious. You know, he counts the steps on the hairbrush, the comb.
It's like, I can't do that.
There's 13 steps on here.
And Bianca's like, just jump the last one.
And then when and it's 13 steps to get onto the back of Orville.
And I just... Even Orville, just the whole where it pretends to be an airline. And it's a sardine can. And I just like it. Yeah, I
like it.
There's very little...
But it's one of those where... I have to be in the mood to watch it because it is so sad. And I think that's why it's not a 4, it's a 3.5.
Well, the reason it got a 4 for me, and it is because of some of the music, but it's the score.
Oh, yeah.
So, I've always thought this, and when I watched it, it was more apparent, especially during Irvin Root when he's flying from the bat.
Yeah.
There's no music. It's just him bzzing around, and it's quite a long bzzz thing. There's no... There is a... No, there's nothing. It's just quiet.
Oh, no, there isn't. It is
and
quiet.
He goes through
but isn't that because it's supposed to be the eeriness of a swamp?
It is, but I think that could have been played more by... One of the things that I have from, and I include the Black Cauldron and Robin Hood and the Aristocats and... Yeah, you said
there's certain points where you feel there's no music. And it doesn't bring the...
This whole period, they don't feel finished.
Okay.
The Aristocats never felt fully finished. Robin Hood, although it was finished because it reused quite a lot of animation, didn't feel finished as such.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh was just old clips, basically.
Yeah.
This one doesn't feel finished. And The Fox and the Hound... Yeah, although probably the stronger have got the nicest polish on it, kind of thing. They just don't feel finished.
Yeah.
And this one is because
and I think for me the background look and the flatness of it is such a shame because You know, even if they had it looking like, you know, they made the effort like they did in Bambi.
Yeah.
You know, where the foreground, like you saw all the way to the back of the forest.
Yeah.
We should have been able to see all the way through, you know, those streets in New York. It was just very flat. But that's just my artistic eye. It
is a shame they didn't say, even if just the lights, lights flickered or whatever as you're going around, just to give it a bit of life.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't notice it, but I really did notice it in that Irving Root and the Bat scene.
Yeah.
Where it was, as I say, just unfinished. Mm-hmm. And it just felt unfinished. So, we said our scores, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah, you gave it a 4. I gave it a 3.5.
The last thing that I have to say on the rescuers before we go into the thing is the parks.
Okay.
They're not really there, are they?
No, they're not.
Which strikes me as odd because it was a really popular film.
Yeah, it brought money.
Yeah.
And yet they gave it nothing in the parks.
And the thing is, Oliver and Company I could kind of understand because that led the way into
the Renaissance. Yeah.
Whereas this kind of stands on its own. So I did a bit of digging to see what was at the parks.
Okay.
Now, there used to be a painting in the World of Disney shop in Disney Springs.
Okay.
But it was renovated.
Right.
There were character meets.
Was there?
There was Bernard, Miss Bianca, and Orville.
Orville? Oh God, how did he look?
Good.
Oh, okay.
They all looked good.
Okay.
And I really wish that they'd do it. According to Disney Parks Characters Wikipedia, they have rated that Bernard, Bianca and Orville, you have a no chance percentage of seeing any of these characters, equal to Maid Marian. I don't get that.
I don't get that.
I definitely think Bernard and Bianca.
Yeah.
You should be able to see those. I mean, Madam Madusa should be at some kind of villain thing.
I know.
And she should be featured on villain things.
Well, I saw some really, really good cosplays of her at the annual pass party I went to last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed as well is, especially over the last few years, we've seen a lot more of the rescuers on Christmas ornaments and pins, but I don't remember seeing any before. Like when we worked there, the rescuers weren't anywhere.
No.
Like they brought out what gets me is they brought out the Blu-ray in 2012 when we worked there, but I didn't buy it from the Disney store. I bought it afterwards, which would have been rare. So whether or not it was in our store, I
mean, for the 100 years, obviously they included that in the 70s, didn't they? And that was the teddy, the plush, because they were on the leaf with.
Yes, but even that was only a reissue because I had the original one, which is, there's no leaf or
okay,
but they are the same plush.
Okay.
And it wasn't at the end of Wish.
No. Yes, which when we get to Wish,
hopefully we'll know why.
Yeah, well we think.
Yeah,
we have a reason for it, but when we get to Wish, we'll make sure that we have the right answer.
But then they're featured in Once Upon a Studio.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that could be the reason.
Yeah,
so
true.
I'm honestly not sure about this one because even Tarzan, there was huge issues with Tarzan.
Yeah.
Like copyright wise. And he was there.
Yeah.
He was in it. But yeah, that was my last thing to say on the rescuers.
Now we have remembered this time, that we are doing a quiz, a bit of a game show at the end of the episode. So before we say au revoir, right? So I'll give you again. I'm going to stick with 20 seconds. Okay. You only have to name 5. So I'm just getting my phone out. And here we go. Yeah, I've got my 20-second timer. Right. Okay. There are 10 countries that are represented in Disney animated classics. Name 5.
Africa, the UK, America, Australia, France.
Wow, okay, well done. Although Africa is a continent.
It is, okay, so to replace Africa,
I'm just being mean.
Me.
Yeah. I mean, to be specific, it's Kenya. I would have accepted Kenya or Tanzania, but I'll accept Africa. But yes, well done.
China!
Yeah, you could have said China.
Greece.
You could have said Greece, Germany, Polynesia Islands, Peru, Italy, Colombia, the Middle East. I would have accepted because, as we know, a lot. Yeah, and Norway or Scandinavia. So yes.
Well,
any other country is either made up, or like they're in space.
Yeah. Under the sea.
So yes, well done.
Yes.
You managed to do it this week. See, 20 seconds, it's enough.
For certain things, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on that note...
Yes.
Next week, Fox and Hound.
Fox and the Hound.
Yes.
I think it's quite apt that we end this one with tomorrow is another day.
Yes.